we have 5:30, so we'll call the meeting to order. Elizabeth, would you call the roll?
Yep, Terry Wattis. Here. Dan Duffy.
Here.
Ben Purdy.
Here.
Brian Bussing.
Here.
Danielle Percy. Here. Tom Weatherby.
Here.
With 6 out of 7, we have a quorum, the meeting is now open.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We have an agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve it as presented?
I'll move that we approve the agenda of July, as presented. August,
August 10.
the agenda, as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, first up, we have our first public comment period. Is there any comments from the public? Ms.
Hi.
Goldberg?
I just want to extend an invitation to all the board members to come to the open house to kick off the school year and stop in my room, 214, and see me and see a little bit about what we do. And I know you're welcome in all the teachers' rooms too. I'm excited to show off how we got the room ready to go. That's it.
Thank you very much. You always have a fun room to visit. For
Thanks.
sure. Any other comments this time? Yeah, Laura?
I just, PTO updates, I just wanna be sure you guys, everybody knows, we are, excited to hopefully be helping with back to school night again. We have, and are gonna be working on getting our open gym started right away in the fall this year instead of waiting. So we're working on that and then looking to homecoming festivities and seeing what we can do to assist with that, so. Our first meeting is actually our next meeting is before school starts. So it's it's right at the beginning of September because of how it falls this year.
Right.
So it's gonna
Late
be a
start.
little interesting because normally it's right after school starts, but anyway.
Thank you. Any other comments this time? Eric?
Yeah, Eric, thank you. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm gonna read here. Good evening, members of the board, administration, and our Northport community. I wanted to start tonight on a personal note. For anyone who has not heard, Aaron and I have made the incredible, painful, and bittersweet choice to send our daughters, Savannah and Maddie, to Leland Public School this fall. Before anything else, I would like to sincerely thank the district for the past 5 years of Savannah's education. I also want to express my deep gratitude for the opportunity to start and coach the elementary girls basketball team. Coaching those girls has been an absolute privilege and something that I'll miss dearly. I am asking the district today to please do everything you can in your power to not let the program die. Find a way to run it again this year, because when you look at the future enrollment numbers behind the current bubble of kids, the program will likely not be able to support itself after this season. So this season will be special. That brings me to the reality of our declining enrollment. Maddie was set to start kindergarten here in a class of just 3 students. And while class sizes are fantastic for individualized one-on-one instruction, a class of 3 presents severe developmental drawbacks. At that size, the child will miss out on the diverse peer interactions, collaborative problem solving, and varied social growth that are the foundation of a healthy school experience. When enrollment numbers are this critically low, I want to again implore the board to look at combining classes, especially kindergarten and 1st grade. We must structure our classrooms for the benefit of the children and not to maintain our status quo. But making necessary and structural changes requires a foundation of community trust, and that requires transparency. On July 23rd, I wrote an email to this board offering a simple step forward. I offered to stop personally recording these meetings if the district would agree to take over the digital recordings themselves. That email was never answered. Recording our meetings ensures that working parents and community members who cannot be here at 5:30 still have the option to be part of the process. True transparency is a basic public service. Finally, transparency is the only way that we can actually heal the fractures that are in our district. Because there has never been any formal acknowledgement, closure, or accountability regarding the handling of the student-led conferences nor the compromised board appointment process that followed, I have chosen to take my documented concerns to the public, as you likely are noticing. The last message that I've ever received from this district was from the board president, Ben Purdy, who stated, "I do not share the view that there was any misconduct, and while I believe that both the email and the letter were a mistake and counterproductive for the school, we are all allowed to make mistakes." Furthermore, I would implore the board to take a thorough look at the messages between Tom Weatherby and myself all around the appointment process. It needs to be looked at, acknowledged, and likely streamlined for the next time. If acknowledgement and accountability cannot be achieved within these walls openly amongst each other, then the public must be invited in to see. Transparency is the only mechanism that will drive forward better governance, repair the public trust, and ultimately help Northport Public School thrive again. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Eric. Do you have public comments at this time? Okay. We'll have another one at the end of the meeting. The written correspondence, the only one we got was from Eric, this email this morning. Next up is Superintendent's report.
Yes, we got a list of things today. So if you saw in the news a couple weeks ago, the district had to sign off on a grant request from Cooperative. So now it's got a 2% grant from the Cooperative tribe. So if you read some of the news, it looks like we got money that actually were passed through for the left only government agencies can apply for 2%. So we agreed to do that for them. So that'll give them a van in each of their 4 districts. We are still looking at our hiring. We have custodian positions still open. We have several candidates for that one. We have an interview for the 3rd grade position coming up later this week. And then one that caught us off guard, which is not exactly our hiring, but the health department has reorganized and no longer have a school nurse for us to contract with. It's a slight violation of our contract, but I don't think it's probably worth arguing that point with them. So as a team, we'll figure out what we need to do moving forward to fill that hole. We don't have a plan to address that at this point. We are coming up on our 60-day window for first year of Hanover. We have to give them notification if we're going to continue for the 2nd year or end of 60 days out, which would give them time then to work on their sort of the wrap-up process and provide the end of the year communication that the board is looking for. And so, and if we decide in the future we want to jump back in, we certainly can. But my intention to that we're not going to go for year 2 and start working on the end of the year communication. Auditorium lights is one of our big capital projects. We have a sort of a rough draft from the consultant, but not yet an RFP. His estimate is going to be on the sort of the middle to lower end of what we considered. But as soon as we get that RFP, we can get that out and actually get bids to figure out what the cost will be to fix the lights. And we'll also decide as a board how much we want to just sort of replace and how much we want to also upgrade. And so there are things I'm not familiar with because I'm not into auditorium lighting, but like our rope light that we use for the front of the stage is a non-traditional way to mark the front of the stage, and the recommendation would be to swap that out. I said let's have all those sort of additional things as an add-on versus part of the actual quote. And so there'll be, I think, probably 3 or so options that we can look at once we figure out what it's going to cost to repair the parts that have to be repaired, and then how we want to move forward. And then the last thing is we are 3 weeks out from today will be the first day the teachers are back in the building. We do have a post-Labor Day start. There's a few of us left in the area who are still doing that. But as we talked about this spring, that works the best with our calendar and the waiver process for starting before. So 3 weeks, and then we'll be back full staff in the building and ready to go for students the following week. Any questions or comments from you?
I do.
Go ahead.
So just for clarification, the Hanover report, it's not finished. It's just in the process of being done and getting a report in the future.
They've done a series of data collections. So they had the survey in the beginning for current and former families. They've then interviewed current and former families. They have surveyed and are working interviewing recent graduates. And there was also a different branch that is looking at the people who are not affiliated with the district but are in the greater, Traverse City, community, and looking at their perceptions. They did like an audit of our website, and then, from all of that, they can put together a sort of final piece.
Okay, so the culmination has not been presented yet, so we may have little bits and pieces or ideas or thoughts, but we don't have the final report. Okay, thank you for that. And then what did you say about lift at the very beginning? I missed it because my pen was exploding.
So, the Grand Pampers Band has what's called 2% money.
Okay.
That is money that they legally have to distribute to the community from some of their gaming revenues.
Okay.
Only government entities can apply for the funds directly, but quite often nonprofits use public entities like a school or a village to apply on their behalf. And it goes through, and it's not a surprise for GTP. They can see how the grant is written.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyft approached us back maybe May, because they needed a fourth van and asked if we would sponsor their 2% application. So we sponsored that. I believe we were awarded $40,000 so they can purchase a fourth van for their fleet.
Oh, that's very generous, I think.
Any other questions for Neil on his report? All right, thank you, Neil. Are there any items that board members would like removed from the consent agenda for discussion? Okay, consider those approved. In our first, we don't have any action items this month. Our first discussion item is a resolution to explore interdistrict cooperative programming and shared education opportunities.
So there's sort of two parts to this conversation, and if the board chooses one option, it's a very short conversation. If the board chooses the second option, there's a long conversation. So you've had a chance to review the resolution that's in the board packet from last week. I'll present it here, I'll project it as soon as it allows me to. This is something that is being talked about at Northport, Wheeling, and Suttons Bay. And so the first question would be, does the board want to be a part of this does the board want to be a part of this conversation? Do we see value in partnering with these two other districts to figure out how we can cooperate to the benefit of our students? If the answer to that question is yes, then this draft resolution is really even more than, it's even before a draft. This is a starting point for the conversation. So what we'd like to do then, in each of the board meetings is have a chance for the board to review, provide feedback of things they like or don't like, so that then the three superintendents can get together to put together sort of an official first draft that we can then have the same talking points for all three districts and making sure they're all on board. So I guess the first question is, is there interest in pursuing a cooperative agreement like this with Wheeling and Suttons Bay?
To me, on the surface, it seems like it's a no-brainer, but that's on the surface, and after a first look, it seems like it would be a really good thing. Do you have a recommendation at this time, or do you have any thoughts on it?
The resolution is non-binding, so all this is having us agree to start talking.
Do you think that? I think that's a good thing.
I thought it'd be,
I mean, why wouldn't it?
Seems like a good idea. It made me think back to my own, days, in high school. There were so many kids that would split their day between Traverse City schools and say Suttons Bay because, Suttons Bay didn't have necessarily all the academics, but they still wanted to be Suttons Bay kids, and so you'd go in the morning to either one, and it was really beneficial.
We had the ISD room too.
Right, too.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to physically be there, but you know what I mean. So
I'd be
I don't see
curious.
why not.
Yeah.
Oh,
How many other superintendents?
about this idea. This Sutton's Bay is the one who is currently championing this, and Leland and some of their board that has been talked with is interested as well. Leland does not offer baseball or softball. They have access, I think, to softball through St. Mary's, which is tenuous at best. The volleyball program was down to just over enough kids for varsity and JV last year. So they too are starting to see some of these issues. They can't field a robotics team consistently. They don't have a band program. In Northport and Sutton's Bay do have band. We do have our shared robotics team. We do have baseball and softball. So I think that there's benefit to everyone involved, whether we're looking at just the extracurriculars, whether we're looking at how do we, Sutton's Bay, for example, has one of their math teachers is an adjunct professor for NMC, and she can now teach dual classes directly at Sutton's Bay. And so, and they invited us to be a part of that, but in order for us to actually be a part of that, we have to make sure that like our bell schedules either align or cooperate so that it works. And so when they proposed that, I think in June, like it's too late into the upcoming school year to actually rearrange schedules and get students who are interested signed up. And so but having an agreement in place where the board say, yeah, this is what we want to be doing, allows more flexibility to make that happen. So I support the idea. As I mentioned, I think last month, one of the other pluses too, I think we would most likely move to a co-branded entity. So similar to when we had North Bay. My guess is that at some point in the near future, the baseball and softball team would become a Northern Leelanau County high school team, or like the Bay Reps or the hockey for the area. So we move away from the red and white Norse to a mutually agreed upon process.
Even larger schools do this. For instance, if a middle school, I know one in particular, didn't have Spanish, another school was invited to come in and they had agreements like this. So it's not only with schools in Leelanau County that tend to be smaller numbers of kids, but even in larger districts, I've seen this happen too. And it's all positive. Well, if it's not, then you deal with it, but it was positive in that larger district as well.
All right, well, sounds like there's pretty broad support. No real urgency. You're okay to act on this resolution next month?
I'm not asking to act on this at all. I'm not even guaranteeing this is the resolution we're gonna bring back for discussion for action. So really today would be, I need to be able to go back and talk with Casey and Ryan and say, Northport's board, likes all of it. Northport's board is not interested in co-oping band or whatever. So what I'd like to do is, take a few minutes, and if there's any feedback that you can give me, so that when we come back, after all three boards have had a chance to look preliminarily, so that we can have a draft that hopefully meets all three districts' needs. Right now we're sort of shooting blind to see what the boards are gonna want. So were there any parts that were people objected to, or things that were missing, or things that we should be tweaked?
Well, since we're at the beginning stages and it's just talking at this point, I'd like to cast a wide net and look at, things in addition to the extracurriculars. The resolution as presented says, gives a list, but says not limited to, so that all sounds good to me. Other board members said.
I always thought it'd be cool as if you could extend it to classes where, schools could offer specialized classes that way. And then you'd have room to have them again. You could go as far as say something like shop or whatever, but just like Steve used to do naval architecture, you could do some of these more, cause then you could draw from a few more kids. I think that'd be a lot of fun. or even like the higher math classes, we could have some more kids for calc or stats or something,
Maybe some like AP options come in.
Yeah.
You know.
so.
Mhm. Yeah. That can help retain too, you know, especially like if kids wanna be here, but we're not offering what they need.
Yeah.
But they can kind of split their time. You know.
Or if someone was interested in our radio program, or like, someone, well, yeah, it's definitely, I think, worth exploring and moving forward with it.
Does that answer did that give you enough, Neil? Do you have any other questions for the board?
Well, what I'm hearing is that the general gist of the resolution is acceptable, and so as long as we sort of stay within what we have here, the board's probably gonna be supportive. I'm not hearing any major holes or any major, red flags in what was already proposed.
No, especially if we're just discussing, brainstorming, kind of no bad idea at this point. Let's open it up.
Alright, so the next step then would be is we'll wait for, I know Sutton's Bay's already had this conversation at their board, I'm not sure when Leland's gonna have theirs. I know that their superintendent and some of the board members are already aware of this conversation. But once Leland's had their conversation, then I'll work with those two to, come back with an actual, draft resolution that we can discuss and then hopefully vote on the following month. So we're still 2 months from action with this at a minimum.
Well, that's exciting. Any old business from the board or new? Will you check into those on
Yeah.
formatting?
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, maybe you can help with this also. I believe that discussion and old business are essentially the same category. And new business and, I'm sorry, old business and action are the same, and new business and discussion are the same. I think we have a relic going on here. I don't think that I think that you can potentially have issues if you introduce new ideas to be discussed in a board meeting, because it's not on the agenda, and then the public doesn't have the ability to know what's going to be discussed, and be a part of that conversation. So
It's just always been there. I will look legally if there's an issue with taking it off, and
we're just reframing it, so old business is action. We've already discussed it.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Any other public comments at this point? Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I just wanna add a couple of points, and, one is that frequently, in addition to the kids that we have registered to come to school, we get some last minute show-ups. So saying there's only 3, for a class, and who knows what could happen, sometimes it's a week or 2 into school, sometimes it's at Christmas break. Secondly, the collaboration between classes, that is something we're doing in elementary. Certainly they do it for the Christmas concert, we have mixed grades. We do it in STEM lab, we have some engineering, challenges, several weeks in a row that combine classes, and it's really fun how we partner the kids up together. And it brings the best out in them, and, there's another way we collaborate, and I forgot what it is.
Crew.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Anyway, so we do have some grade mixing, and actually I want to approach the elementary teachers and do that some more, for the hoop house and other things, mixing grades. And that's it.
Thank you. And Laura, I saw your hand too.
Yeah, I have a couple things. So first of all, I just wanted to say that I appreciate that you've added correspondence to the agendas, but it's still, I feel, would be really helpful if you're either putting the correspondence in the packet or summarizing what the correspondence is, because the point is to try and make it part of the public record. And if it's just being listed with a date, that doesn't give any context as to what it is. Whereas if you speak publicly because you were able to make it here, obviously there's something summarized. So I think that would be beneficial if you could consider doing that in the future. Then I also just wanted to make a comment about the joint team thing in regards to robotics. Like, I obviously am not a part of the superintendent conversations, but I know Michael Parsons pretty well, and I'm not aware that they are at all interested in joining teams. I know they just redid their branding and a bunch of other stuff. And they have every level of robotics, like all the way down to elementary, and Sutton's Bay only has high school. So I mean, their program at Leland is much bigger than Sutton's Bay actually, even though they're just newer and much less successful, but that's because they're a new team with not as many mentors. Anyway, and if they were to combine, that would just give more students, which would be beneficial, but I definitely think all the robotics kids would wanna keep the team the way it was as Norseman. That's just my personal take of information, because their number is really early, so they would want to keep their number, and that means they have to stay the same. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So, and then finally, I really wanted to thank Eric for being the basketball coach, and I think it's really sad that that team could go away. It means a lot to the girls, and they made so much progress under him as a coach. And there are girls like my youngest who didn't even want to participate, who now absolutely love basketball, and it's because of him. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. Any other public comments? Kelly?
Hi, yes, I just wanted to say that I think that you should record the meetings, not have Eric do it, but through the school. I think that would be a better look. We're the only school in the county that doesn't do something like that. We have a lot of money, and I feel like we have a tech savvy admin, and you know, with Adam, he's all over it. Like, I don't understand why we can't do that. If you've seen Eric's YouTube videos, they have like over 200, 300 views. So the public wants to see what's going on. If they're not always here, they're kind of at awkward times, 5:30. So I think people would like to be able to watch them if they could. I also want to say thank you for, I guess, looking into the possibility of having some sort of co-op. I feel like I suggested that like 2 years ago in a meeting along with Ben Purdy and the superintendent here, and we were told point blank that was like not allowed. Then Mr. Weatherby, superintendent, was going around telling people that we were trying to get rid of the co-op we had, and we were trying to get rid of sports because all we wanted was to continue a basketball team. So good for you for 2 years later listening to the parents. Good job. Really proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Any other comments? Okay. Any board member, well, first superintendent comments. Do you have any others at this point? Thank you. No? Any other board member comments?
I have one. Every school corporation, there's something that can be improved, no matter where you live, which school corporation you're in, or which college, which educational level. Any educational program can be improved. But I am so proud that this school, the school index score is 96, a little over 96, and is the top in the county and one of the top in the state. So, I mean, it's easy to get lost in the weeds sometimes and about things that are passionate to people, and that's important, you know, to hear people and to hear what they have to say. But the bigger picture is what we have going on right here, and it really is incredible. I'm saying that as a resident and as a person who experienced it. So, I think we need to remember that.
I'll reiterate her statement also. I prepared some notes to read, but I don't wanna take this down the rabbit hole too far. This school has an administration and teachers that come here every single day because they love our students. And I think that there are some parents out here that are forgetting that. And I appreciate the stuff on Facebook. I appreciate you as a coach, Eric. Everybody does. And nobody wants you to leave. The stuff on Facebook is really getting out of hand because as much as you guys want to be helpful and raise awareness to things and transparency, that's beautiful and obviously very important. But if you guys don't understand how detrimental this is becoming, I feel bad for you. And it's really quite sad to see some of the misinformation that's being presented. You guys are more than welcome to come into school at any time and talk to the staff. And I've done this because I was curious about some of the NWA stuff, and I was given a very thorough instruction of how the testing works. And it's all very simple, and in terms of stuff with transparency in regards to your video camera, I've asked the school to do this, that's in process. So you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Awesome.
But choosing to just continually bash this stuff is getting to be insanely unproductive.
Change them,
No one's bashing anything.
make changes.
We appreciate your feedback, we always do. But when you guys choose to leave the district, you have every prerogative to. You have to understand that you are now part of the problem. And I said this probably a year ago, and I hope that you're aware of that. You have parents here like Mrs. Tehan that has single-handedly, basically single-handedly, achieved a $200,000 grant for scholarships for these students at this school. And that is a beautiful thing, and I feel like even though you guys have important views and like, it's your prerogative, like I said, for your children, you guys, I think, are missing the bigger picture on a lot of this stuff. And the school wants absolutely the best relationship with its parents and its teachers. And the animosity that's being formed because of this social media stuff is really unfortunate. And the school is not going to participate. It is not worthwhile to engage in that stuff on the internet because it's not productive. And it would be much more helpful if you guys would come into the school and talk to people one-on-one. I'm sorry that nobody has answered your email. We also are not required to. If you're on this board, Eric, you don't have to answer them.
If we're gonna have a conversation, you and I, you keep looking at me, I'd love to keep talking.
That's
I feel
fine,
like we have
but
to
I
wait for public
wanna
comment.
say this stuff because I think it's very important. School starts in
I
a
think we
month.
need to look at the corruption among appointment processes.
No,
board
point of
members.
order.
I think
Yeah,
we need to
this
look
is
at
not
it.
public
Eric.
comment
Yes.
time.
Well,
I
if
just
he's
wanna
gonna
say, I just wanna
address
say
me,
thank
I
you
mean,
for everybody being here tonight. And I just wanna reiterate that this school loves its teachers, and this board is here to be here for the administration, teachers, and its students, and its community members and family. If people don't understand that and they wanna choose to be upset about it, I'm sorry, but we are here for the school, and that is it, period. And, thank you for being here tonight, and I wanted to say that because there's just been a lot of really ugly talk, and it's unfortunate that it's gotten to this point, but something has to be said, and we are going to work on this.
Good.
But the continual, just constant bombardment is not productive, and I'm done.
Not for you.
Thank you.
No.
Any other board member comments? Well, if not, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?